Okay, we're setting up for the latest version of the Zera Shimshon. And I almost worked it today, but of course there's always got to be a catch. This is Parshas Shoftim, Bezras Hashem. It is today, Hey, Elul, Bezras Hashem, and Tavshin Pei Hey, still. And we're going to start off a little bit differently because if you don't know, tonight starts the yard site for the Zera Shimshon. And I want to tell a little piece about that because I have a short Vort also, but tonight, Friday night, is the Hilula of the Reb Shimshon, Zera Shimshon, and I'll just tell you a little piece about it. Shimshon Chaim Nachmani lived in Italy over 200 years ago, and Rabbi Shimshon Chaim had only one child. That one child died at an early age. And upon this, Rabbi Shimshon Chaim dedicated his Sforim to the memory of this child who had no continuity of family. At the beginning of his book, Rabbi Shimshon Chaim wrote that he needs to leave some memory in this world because he has no continuity. And that's why he wrote the book and named it Zera Shimshon, which is the seed or the children of Shimshon, which means the seed of Shimshon. And Rabbi Shimshon Chaim published the book 1 year before he died. Rabbi Shimshon Chaim placed a lot of his energy during his lifetime, when that people should learn from his Sforim. Rabbi Shimshon Chaim also emphasized that after his neshama will leave this world, that people should continue to learn from his Sefer. What is most unusual for a tzaddik of this nature is that he made a promise. And the promise is that anyone who takes upon himself to learn from his writing, he promises children, praise, health, parnasa, wealth, and honor. Not bad. Promises. It's a tzaddik. And what's most unusual for a tzaddik, many who have taken upon themselves to study his Torah lessons consistently have seen salvation in their lives. So this is, before Shabbos, you should give a little tzedakah in his honor of his tzaddik and the candle, and write a candle for him, and learn from his sefer. I will post a Dvar Torah. So anyway, we'll post a little Dvar Torah of our own, okay? So, in Shoftim it says there's two types of bribery. And by the way, Shabbos is Vav Elul. So that's when the yard site is, not today. It's the Vav Elul. There's a difference between what is written in this parsha and the pasuk on the same topic that appears in Parshas Mishpatim, which says, "Do not accept a bribe, for the bribe will blind those who see and corrupt words that are just." That's in Shmos 23:8. Well, here it says, "For the bribe will blind the eyes of the wise." A little bit different. Why does the Torah use the word pikchim, those who see, in one place, and chachamim, the wise, in somewhere else? Also in this parsha, the Torah warns against bribery, using the strong terminology of prohibition. Lo sikach, it's a lav deraisa. Lo sikach shoichad, you shall not accept a bribe. Preceding the word shoichad, bribe, and with a lo, and not, you shall not. In Parshas Mishpatim, on the other hand, when the Torah mentions bribery, it is with less severity, saying shoichad lo sikach. Do not accept a bribe, putting the word of bribery before the prohibition of lo. What why the change in the wording. The Gemara in Ksubas 105a tells us that it is permissible for a judge to accept payment since he is not employed during the time he is involved in the case. He can do this even if it's not obvious that he missed out because of the case. However, the Gemara continues, it is repulsive for the judge to do so. Repulsive, okay. Doesn't say it's usher, it says it's repulsive. Now, we now can distinguish between the two places where the Torah discusses the concept of bribery. When the Torah talks about bribery in our parsha, Shoftim, it is referring to a judge who literally accepts a bribe. The Torah stresses that this is forbidden because if he has accepted a bribe, he will never be able to see anything wrong with the person who bribed him. To the judge, that man has become perfect and will remain so. This is why the Torah states, for the bribe will blind the eyes of the wise. Once he has accepted a bribe, he will lose the wise outlook that he used to possess, and he won't be able to serve as a fair judge. In fact, the Gemara points out that any judge who accepts a bribe will not leave the world with a pure heart and a normal state of mind. Why is that? Because he will lose his eyes of wisdom through taking bribes. That is why the Torah says, you shall not take a bribe, with a lo coming before the word of bribe, conveying that it is both the wrong thing to do and a prohibition. The Parshas Mishpatim, on the other hand, the Torah was referring to a judge accepting payment for the fact that he gave up work to sit in the court. Here it is legally permissible for the judge to do this, permissibly, but morally repugnant. That is why Torah uses the phrase "l'sheichad le'sikach," do not accept a bribe, which does not imply an outright prohibition, but is definitely not the right thing to do. Here the Torah concludes with the phrase, for the bribe will blind those who see, which implies that even though he may still retain his wisdom, since he didn't transgress a complete prohibition, he is no longer a pikeach, a truly perceptive man, since he has stooped to doing such a disgusting thing. That's from our Parshas Mishpat, and that's from Parshas Mishpatim also in Oisayan. All right, anyway, it's also the last of the Sheva Brachos. We're having Sheva Brachos by our shul up above, two stairs, 4 stairs full, and everybody's coming. The Bloom family, Goldblum family, and the Lang family, and some other guys. So even though we don't need Ponim Chadashes on Shabbos, okay. Anyway, have a wonderful Shabbos, and everybody enjoy every minute. Kol Tov.